This is why Chuck Schumer is a loser. Because military doctrine, there's a concept known as defeat in detail.
So come brothers and sisters, for the struggle carries on. Listening to Mike from PA unites the world in song.
How is everybody doing today? Hutch, pay up, you bitch. Welcome into the Central Committee stream with your host, Mike from PA. We are alive and alive on March 14th, 2025. My Lord in heaven, we have a hype train. KL Kane, thank you for the 5 gifted subs to start off the stream. Well. Jay Divins booed? You mean JD Vance? That was
Kill that life!
boo. So chat, I hope you guys got the opportunity to watch me do some gaming yesterday on VO stream. We also had a blood moon last night. So that was cool. Is my camera dying? Is it okay? Is it okay? Is it okay? Is it okay? Okay. What the fuck is going on with the webcam? Is that better? I think it's better. Okay. If only you had another camera you could switch it out with. Yeah, that would be great. Brown, thank you for the 40 months. I knew a nice new one that someone gifted. Yeah. Well, see, I have to go get a capture card. I have to get a whole bunch of equipment for it. You know, it's not plug and play. It's, you know. Here's Noah getting arrested for protesting at Trump Tower. Soap Dragon says, I just resubbed, but I don't see my months. 47. Noah is a king. What a hero. All right, so what are we going to talk about today? The Democrats are losing everyone as Chuck Schumer submits to Donald Trump. Brooklyn Dad Defiant, Olivia Juliana, Hutch, the most pathetic loser of all time, has flipped. There isn't anyone more pathetic and more of a loser than Hutch, and even he thinks Chuck Schumer is a loser. There are moderate House Democrats telling AOC to primary Chuck Schumer. And my personal feeling is shut up with the primary shit. If you try to primary, you're falling into the trap of the fascist right. You can't primary. We need a new party. I will explain why. Because regular people do not vote in primaries. If you want to have a populist campaign based on the regular fucking people, you have to have the elections that matter in the general election. If the election that matters is the primary, you're giving away the game. The idea that only DSA members are furious at Democrats right now isn't just the contemptuous delusion of the upper rungs of the Democratic Party. It's endemic in political journalism, too, because they're serving the interest of the capitalist class, which is exactly what they're there to do. They're there to launder right-wing policy.
What do you think of the job that Chuck Schumer is doing? Would you ever challenge him, do you think?
I think that what we need right now is a united Senate Democratic caucus that can stand up for this country and not vote for cloture and not vote for this bill. And I think that the strength that we have is in this moment. Reconciliation and all of these, Republicans do not need Democratic votes for that. They need it for this. And so the strength of our leadership in this moment is going to demonstrate the strength of our caucus. And I cannot urge enough how bad of an idea it is to empower and enable Donald Trump and Elon Musk in this moment. It is dangerous and it is reckless.
Well, what do you think of the job that Chuck Schumer is doing? Would you ever challenge him, do you think?
I think
it would be foolish of AOC to make it about herself right now. That would give Chuck Schumer, the establishment, exactly what they would need. I think it would be a dumb move to be like, yeah, I'm going to primary Schumer. Like, I don't think that would be a good move. But the reality is that we've got to really.
He said, just trust your president. And I said, no.
My stomach.
Ugh. I think it's absolutely disgusting and downright revolting for you to make this much sense. I mean, I've always made this much sense. I've always been right. Like, that's what you're confused about. I've always been correct. I was correct 4 years ago. I was correct the entire Biden administration. I was correct 8 years ago. Like, the reality is that, you know, I have tried the inside game. But in my personal experiences, the Democratic Party is corrupt and doesn't want to win. Now, I'm not saying that as hyperbole. I'm saying that as a fact. I want you to understand something, chat, that when I was more involved with electoral politics, when I did that as my full-time gig, I had a race in a swing district that the Democrats were trying to have no viable challenger against the Republican because he was a powerful Republican. And I basically, I got an extremely strong candidate, a local politician, a local elected business owner of a successful business, progressive, longtime supporter of, Planned Parenthood. He and his wife were clinic escorts. He was good on every issue. He had a huge volunteer base, which I helped recruit hundreds of volunteers, hundreds of thousands of dollars he raised on his own. And the Democratic Party reaction, and we got a poll back, and the poll showed us up 3 points. And do you know what happened? I want you to understand. I'm going to tell you what happened. So I went to the Democratic Party leadership and the Senate campaign committee, and I provided them all the evidence. I wrote a memo. I had everything buttoned up as perfectly as you could button it up. And you know what they did? They took the entire package that I gave them and handed it to the Republican Party. I'll say that again. They took the entire package that I gave them to ask for them to, rally support for this race, and they gave it to the Republican Party. That happened to me personally. We ended up losing by 1% of the vote because the Republican member of leadership spent more money in our state Senate race than the Republican did in the congressional race in the same district, which was a swing district. I want you to understand something. The Democratic Party does not want to win. Especially they don't want to win if it's under progressive leadership. This wasn't a socialist. This guy wasn't a crank. He was just a bog standard progressive veteran business owner with a family, kids in high school, lots of volunteers, It didn't matter. It didn't even matter that he was what they consider to be an ideal candidate, right? He was too progressive. And so they handed all of our internal documents and discussions directly over to the Republican Party, which allowed them to spend millions of dollars and win by 1%. While former Democrats, and it even gets worse than that, former Democrats endorsed the Republican. The former DNC, the former head of the Pennsylvania Democratic Party endorsed the Republican. I'll say that again. It was so bad, and they were so worried the Republican was going to lose. The former head of the Pennsylvania Democratic Party endorsed the Republican with a week before the election. You guys think that I am using hyperbole when I say the Democratic Party is a controlled opposition party that doesn't want to win. That isn't my weird internet opinion. That is my opinion from working in the Democratic Party. That's the reality of what they are. And the only way you could deny it is if you are literally in denial and you don't know what you're talking about. And it is what it is. Here, I'll show you what I mean. Hassan not thinking. Wait, what happened? Constant reader. Thank you for the 501. Mike, is Mike's frame rate weird today? Yeah, no, there's something going on. I don't know what the hell happened. I don't know what's going on here. Give me a second. Let's start this off with Chuck Schumer getting interviewed.
Shutdown. Give Donald.
And it is one of the most pathetic things I've ever seen in my life.
Are split over how they will vote on the Republican plan to keep the government funded, though on Elon Musk and Donald Trump.
Genuine question. Why was Hassan so surprised to see the controlled opposition do exactly what they've always done? I could not understand how he was so surprised. I think it is actually surprising, to be honest. I don't think it's okay. It's not surprising to me. It's not surprising to me. But even people who are dyed-in-the-wool Democratic partisans are acting weird. Okay. I lowered the frame rate even more. Now we're going to... did that help? I think that helped. Okay. Let me know if there's any problems. Honestly, my camera always has sucked. My camera has always sucked. That's one of the biggest problems with my stream. My boomer mom just told me she likes it because she thinks Trump can get away with more shit in the shutdown. Your mom is stupid. And she's watching MSNBC. That's literally it. She doesn't have... Do you think your mom knows about fucking... I mean, I'm sorry, but do you think your mom knows about, anything? Do you think she understands procedure? She understands... budgetary law? What the fuck are you? Your mom thinks she knows more than the entire Democratic Party caucus in the House? She just saw something on TV and repeated it back like a fucking ape. I'm sorry, your mom is a dumbass. Claudia Scheinbaum is problematic. Okay, this is
Trump's terms.
Este es Jesús.
She's just a cringe mom, Of course. Of course she has stuff like this. My mom would have the same thing. She would get like Funko Pops of herself and her friend. Like, this is just like, that's just what any mom would do. Like,
Este es Jesús.
like, come on. Like, this is just, yes, a 60-year-old mom is like this. What a surprise. Kanta Fornia, thank you for the 5-tier 1. She's awesome. She's great. Never forget the generation of the person you're talking to. Never forget where people come from, because it comes out in all sorts of unexpected ways. I do political analysis. Wait a minute. I just literally told you, I mean, maybe you just got here because this is your first time chat and you've never watched me before, but I literally just talked about my experience organizing in a Senate campaign where I was the political director. What are you talking about? I'm not Hutch. I'm not Destiny. I've done real politics. What are you talking about? I'm not some fucking loser who was a failed semi-pro StarCraft streamer. Can you, Jesus fucking Christ. Why do you people come in here and post like you know anything?
Trump's budget director, and this is key, is
incredible.
already reportedly preparing to ignore the spending appropriated in the bill. Some Democrats have said they will not support the plan, even if it means a government shutdown. But Senate Democratic leader Chuck Schumer of New York says he will support the vote basically to get the bill in a position to pass and to keep the government open.
So, one of Fetterman's staffers posted on Twitch, or on Twitter, excuse me. Thank you guys for all the support. Appreciate you. There will be another wave of DGGers coming around to talk shit. Another brigade front has hit LSF. Really? What happened?
For sure, the Republican bill is a terrible option. It is not a clean CR. It is deeply partisan. It doesn't address far too many of this country's needs. But I believe allowing Donald Trump to take even much more power via a government shutdown is a far worse option.
And Senator Chuck Schumer joins me now. Senator, thank you for joining us.
My pleasure.
Let's just start on this. I think there are a lot of people watching this right now who are confused about this decision.
Okay.
Or upset by it. So just spell out.
Oh, yeah. What was I saying? I got distracted. Sorry. So a Fetterman staffer is like, Schumer's right. Dems are understandably spoiling for a fight, but this was not it. The idea that there was leverage in a shutdown was magical thinking. It'll be a gift to Doge. More people will be hurt. And it would have ended with a worse deal. Fight, but pick smart fights. What they mean is fight, but not have any leverage whatsoever. Fight, but make it symbolic. Don't put any pressure on the Republicans. That's what they mean. And I just simply replied, you are not a human being. I'd call you a worm, but at least their shit becomes dirt. You are less than a worm. You are a parasite. That was one of my better insults. I came up with that on the spot. And it's very important to understand that these pathetic fucking losers don't believe in anything.
Just give me your logic, particularly on this sort of on the one hand, on the other. What is the cost you see to the constitutional order of a shutdown that isn't already being done now?
It's a dramatic cost. Here's why, Chris. Under a shutdown, it is the executive branch, in this case Trump, Musk, Doge, and Vogt, who's head of the OMB, who we all know are authoritarians, vicious, nasty, who would have sole control over what is funded and what isn't. They get to determine what is a, quote, essential service. And they will just cut to smithereens, far greater than in the CR bill, which is a lousy bill, far greater than that, what could be funded and what couldn't. And there's no recourse. You can't go to court. This is a decision totally in the executive branch. And so it would be devastating. Why is it that Elon Musk and Donald Trump want a government shutdown? So they can take control of the government and do their vicious, horrible things. They could cut half the government. They could tell employees you're not essential and never bring them back, permanently firing them. It's a disaster. And in a few weeks, if there was a shutdown, everyone would be complaining and howling. Why did they cut? Why did they eliminate SNAP? Why did they cut so much?
Good. Good. They're destroying everything anyway, you dumbass, and people would understand it immediately. Instead of having it happen slapdashly, everybody would be like, why are the Republicans doing this? It would make it real to people. Instead of allowing people to be picked off one by one. This is why Chuck Schumer is a loser. Because military doctrine, there's a concept known as defeat in detail. It answers the question of how, as a smaller organization or a weaker organization, do you attack an organization that's bigger than you? Because traditionally, to get a successful attack, you need to outnumber the defenders. Attacking is harder than defending. So how could a smaller force defeat a bigger army? The answer is defeat in detail. It involves operational and strategic tempo. So a defender may be larger, but if the attacker has the initiative, they have the ability to win. How do you do that? How do you win as a smaller force against a larger enemy? The answer is the idea of defeat in detail. When an organization is on the defense, it has to spread its defenders out over multiple points. So what defeat in detail does is the smaller attacker creates local superiority. It creates local superiority and defeats a section of their enemy one at a time. So let's say that one side has 10 soldiers and the other side has 5 soldiers. Or sorry, let's make it easy to divide. One side has 12 and the other side has 6, right? And they have 3 points they need to defend with their 12 soldiers, right? Well, they'll split the 12 up into 4 soldiers at each defensive point. Well, the attacker of 6 then goes and fights the enemy of 4 and wins. So 4 is greater than 6. 4 is greater than 6. 4 is greater than 6. You get local superiority, and that gives you the ability to beat a larger enemy. Defeat in detail. And that's exactly what Chuck Schumer is providing for the Democrats and for the government. He is allowing Trump to go one at a time at each important thing and fight it on its own. Oh, I'm going to fight the post office now. All right, I've beaten the post office. Now I'm going to fight food stamps. Okay, I've beaten food stamps. Now I'm going to fight Medicaid. And so Trump is just able to isolate one individual thing and destroy it. Oh, here's the Department of Education, one at a time. A shutdown pisses everybody off at once. Everybody is like, wait, I'm on the line. And they all join in the fight. And if what really is happening here is Chuck Schumer is saying, we can't ever win a fight. We can't ever win a fight. There is never going to be a day where he fights, ever. It's always going to be, now is not the time. Maybe we'll keep our powder dry. Because what Chuck Schumer is really communicating is that there is no powder. He has got to go.
Much of Medicaid, but they could do all that on their own. That's the problem. There is no check on them with a shutdown. That's not to say this CR bill is a good bill. It isn't. It didn't have any safeguards in it. But it would be much, much worse to have a shutdown. And my job Chris, as leader, is to see things a little bit ahead down the road and see how horrible this would be and alert people to it.
So I want to sort of present two arguments on the other side. One of them is that it was quite, and I hear you on this. This is not an easy call. I want to be clear. I mean, I don't think it is, but, you know, the AFG union, which is the largest union representing federal workers, they won a big victory today in federal court about those probationary employees who were fired. They came out against the CR, which really surprised me, right? These are the people that seem to have the most skin in the game on precisely the terms you're enunciating. And they said, the fact that this CR has no protections that will actually be followed means that we can't support it. If the people whose livelihoods are on the line say you cannot go along with this thing, why are they wrong?
I understand why they're so upset with the CR, but I disagree with them because the shutdown would be worse for their employees. They could just eliminate huge portions of government workers automatically. They could eliminate programs automatically, which they can't do on the CR. The CR has certain spending, and they can screw around with it, and they will. These guys are sons of guns. They're going to do.
In the year of our Lord 2025, saying sons of guns. Like it's 1962 children's television. Pathetic.
We had a very detailed conversation. I met with FEMA Director Cameron Hamilton earlier this week for about an hour and a half. I had a chance to inform
Like, I mean, this is the reality of where we're going, and this is what radicalization looks like, chat. This is what radicalization looks like. Liberals losing, and I've said this before and I'll say it again. I'm being proven right again. Now that Kamala Harris was defeated, liberals are becoming even more radicalized against the Democratic Party. I'm being proven right again. Accelerationism is actually working in this case. And the reason why it was the reasonable thing to do, although accelerationism is not my strategy, it's just the reality of now that the Democratic Party is offering itself up as a pathetic fucking loser party, the frustration with the status quo is intensifying, especially among Democrats. And that gives us an opportunity to change the Overton window, to expand it once again. I am unhappy that Donald Trump is president of the United States. I didn't want him to be president of the United States, but I said he would be, and this would be the result. So it's not always not lost. I also told you the Democrats would never fight back. The radicalization opportunities for liberals is here. And the Democrats like Chuck Schumer have sowed the seeds of that radicalization opportunity because for years they've been saying that Donald Trump is an existential threat to democracy. Donald Trump is a fascist. Donald Trump is Hitler. They've been saying that for years. And now Donald Trump is in power and he's doing radical shit and the Democrats won't even fight back. The liberals believe their leaders and now they see their leaders acting in incoherent ways, inconsistent ways. And they're frustrated. And guess what? Their hatred of Donald Trump is a hell of a lot bigger than their trust in the Democrats. So now is the time to radicalize a liberal. Now is the time not to say I told you so, as tempting as it is. As tempting as it is for me to... you don't know how much I want to go into Emma Vigeland and Sam Cedars' replies and say, told you so, bitch. But now is not the time for I told you so's. Okay? Now is not the time for I told you so's. Now is the time for radicalizing a liberal. Now is the time to be the bigger man, the bigger woman, the bigger NB. And offer leadership. Not petulant whining, not arrogant know-it-allism, even though that's my natural state. It is the time to radicalize a normie. Now, when I say radicalize, I don't mean go at them with, 8 jargon terms about dialectical materialism and dictatorship of the proletariat. I mean, reach them where they are and say, look who's fighting back. It's the Democratic Socialists of America. You want to fight back? You need to join the Democratic Socialists of America. You need to support left-wing parties and left-wing candidates. You need to grab as many liberals and put them on the right path. The problem is that liberals are saying, I told you so. No, they're not. No, they absolutely aren't. They're mad at Chuck Schumer. This is why it's a golden opportunity. They're not talking about Kamala Harris. In fact, they're mad at Biden and Harris right now because an article just came out where Joe Biden said, no daylight, kid. And she listened. And if there's one thing that Americans hate, it's a loser. All right? And Kamala Harris and Joe Biden are fucking losers. Now, you probably don't want to say that to a liberal, like, she's a loser. It would feel really good. And trust me, I do it all the time. But now is not the time for that. To be fair, DSA ain't doing shit either. Yes, they are. The one thing that I would... DSA tries to work with join a socialist organization, PSL, DSA, whatever. Actually, join both. I want you to understand something, chat. Our job right now is not to try to figure out who the winner is going to be. Our job right now is to infiltrate as many organizations as we can and yank them to the left. It is not our job to go like, I am the most correct left-winger and I have picked the best organization. No. Our job right now is to join every organization and infiltrate every organization and grab leadership at every organization. That is our job. He's busy promoting his new book about why Israel rules. By placing anti-Semitism in its proper historical context and drawing from Senator Schumer's own life, the book informs Americans' understanding of the causes of the recent swell of anti-Semitic rhetoric and violence in our country. In very personal terms, it will engage with debates of the purpose and meaning of Israel and help draw a line between legitimate criticism of its government and when criticism of Israel as a Jewish homeland verges into anti-Semitism. This book is a warning, informed by the lessons of history about what could happen when the world's oldest hatred is allowed to rise unchecked. It's not. What? Oh, God. What a pathetic fucking loser. Anti-Semitism in America is his book deal. He has a talk with Richie Torres scheduled. This is what I'm talking about, guys. This is what I'm talking about, guys.
Let him speak. You've got nothing to say but lie. You're lying. I'm a veteran and you don't give a about me. You don't get the unit to us. You don't get to take away our rights. You don't get to take our rights. Get off of it. You don't get to do it.
Look how many cops and bodyguards are there. Pathetic fucking losers. And the reason why these cops are able to get him out of the room is because nobody else defended him. Because people are just in bystander mode. And that is your mission. Your mission is to educate people out of bystander mode. Your mission in life is to tell people that they can stand up to these people. Their authority does not exist. It only exists in your mind. That is what you need to develop. A rejection of the legitimacy of the United States government. Now, again, baby steps. Baby steps. It's important that when you're radicalizing a liberal that you always do so from the position that you could justify inside that moment. All right? It needs to be valid within the logic of that moment, right? You want to provoke oppression that is unjustifiable or extreme. You don't want to act extreme because then that makes your oppression more justifiable optically. We're in an optics war now. There will be time in the future when that will change. I am literally immune to bystander effects so much that I thought I had TISM at some point. It's made me a lot of good friends. Yeah, bystander effect is by far and away the most dangerous.
Do everything they can to hurt the government. You know what they've talked about. Elon Musk, this billionaire who cares nothing about taking people's Social Security away. This guy says that he wants to cut $2 trillion out of the federal government. A shutdown would allow him to do it. And here's another point, Chris. There's no exit ramp. Anyone who wants the shutdown, I've asked them, well, how do we get out of it? Guess who it's up to get out of it? Donald Trump, Elon Musk, Doge. So it's a horrible, it's two bad alternatives. And I respect people who actually want, don't want it, vote for the CR. It's awful. But with the alternative being a government shutdown, that's even worse.
So here's the other sort of way that I've heard people phrase this, right? Democrats don't control any part of the government. Right. So there's not a ton of leverage. The one thing they have leverage is in the Senate where you need a filibuster-proof majority on a cloture vote. That there's essentially an unconstitutional assault on the government right now. And I think you would agree with that,
there
right?
Is.
An assault on the constitutional
These guys are the worst.
Okay, and so you're giving them exactly what they want. They're the worst. They're assaulting the Constitution. That's why I'm passing their bill. What are you talking about? New tweet. God. Never thought I'd seen so many liberals this upset with the Dems. It at least makes me happy that the voters and even high-profile liberals on here still want to fight, except Matt Iglesias, of course. Chad, all I could say is now is a moment of change. A lot of people ask for change. A lot of people ask for it. Well, guess what, motherfuckers? It's here.
Wir sind die Schnitte der kommenden Macht. Wir sind die Zukunft und wir